Of course, every time we went across, the bridge was taken down.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dennis. Please join us as we take a 2-week river cruise from Amsterdam in the Netherlands to Zurich, Switzerland. We'll visit 5 countries and make 14 stops along the way. A few days we'll mostly just be cruising beautiful historic rivers, lounging on the upper deck as charming towns, castles, and vineyards pass us by. We'll walk along centuries-old cobblestone streets, where bikes and pedestrians far outnumber vehicles. Sometimes we'll do our exploring on bicycles, buses, canal boats, and even a gondola. Professional local tour guides provide us with interesting, informative narratives to better appreciate the locations we visit. There will be numerous performances by local musicians. One of the highlights will be attending a private evening concert at the Basilica of Our Lady, a cathedral that was built in the mid-1200s. River cruising is truly an elegant way to travel. All the details and logistics are taken care of by the travel agent and the tour company. You only unpack once when you board the ship, and then you will have a first-class floating hotel to return to every day. These ships are fairly small and only carry 125 to 175 passengers. You'll find this intimate atmosphere provides wonderful opportunities to meet fascinating travelers from all over the world. Okay, enough with the talk. Why not grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and join us as we embark on 2 memorable weeks of exploration and discovery. The De Haar is the largest castle in the Netherlands. The original building on this site dates back to 1391. The castle was burned down in 1482, and a new castle was built that dates back to 1554. Then, in 1892, a 20-year restoration was started. Today, the castle has 200 rooms and 30 bathrooms. It was equipped with modern conveniences like electrical lighting, its own generator, and steam heating. Also take note of the copper pots and pans in the kitchen. No expense was spared on the opulent, eclectic furnishings of this dazzling castle.
centuries old, to take out the water. The water, fresh water, was not for the inhabitants of Veere. It was solely meant for cleaning the wool because of this important contract with Scotland. And as such, it is unique here in the Netherlands. Nice view of the windmill, also a symbol, no more in function. It's privately owned, it's residential, and it was up for sale for quite a long time. The asking price was 1.5 million euros, so quite sizable, of course. And here was the opening to the North Sea. So they came out of the harbour, turned left, and then across the North Sea to England and up to Scotland. But now they closed it off after this storm. It's about a mile wide, and so there's no more water coming in. So this is brackish water, no more tide, and this is only now for recreational purposes. It's like a fairy tale town. It's you know, you're going into history, and I mean the timing now is perfect because it's early morning, so it's very quiet. So Veere today is a very small town, has a couple of hundred inhabitants, but it used to be booming in the old days. We don't have heavy industry, we don't have, except from one short stretch, we don't have motorways, we don't have railroads, so it's all very peaceful and quiet. And we have beautiful climate.
They had to sail to the market. Why? Because on the market square we had a building where ships could sail in and load in a building. So this was really very special in Bruges, and we used it as a kind of a customs house. So Bruges fell asleep for 350 years. It was from such a wealthy city, it became a very poor city. And that is the wealth of today, yeah, because of this Emperor Maximilian, yeah. So there is even a book saying Bruges la Morte, Bruges, the dead city. then we continue with Gothic. Yeah, this. The higher we build, the closer we are to God. This is the purpose. Yeah. Now, the decoration is always in Baroque. So the map will make it clear how this city is functioning. We are early, we arrived just before 10, and I'm very glad because the place will be full between now and half an hour. Yeah, one bus after the other, sometimes we queue up to there. Yeah, so this is where we are. Bargeplein, barge is a little boat. Yeah, this is the old city walls of Bruges with now 4 old gates. 15th, 16th century. Yeah, so in the old days, more than 20. Yeah, there is 22,000 people living here in this circle. In Bruges, as a total, 120,000 Flemish houses. The steps, and they use the steps very often to cheat. Here, it's a perfect example. You have the top of the facade and the top of the roof coming together. But very often, it's only a wall, and the roof is much, much lower. So when it is in a row in a street, you have the impression you bought or you built a beautiful big house. No, a very small house. I will show you later.
For the floods. Whole life in this area is dominated by the water. Water can be a friend, but water can also be a trend. And it left behind a fertile layer of clay in spring when the water sank again, and then they closed the dike again. So already here around 30, 100 And it's used on a occasion. Make the front line small. So the Germans invaded this whole area and forced the Allied troops to go through the woods. They didn't go to the farmland, they forced them to go through the woods. And in springtime, when the water disappeared again, and all of the bodies came up, the soldiers who followed here. And there are still, we think there are still about 5-6 bodies here to be found.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful good day, ladies and gentlemen. So, silver, tutti pari, also a little bit of citrus. And about the Mosul region, it's interesting because
yes, please. I wanted to share with you something. You know, I always have an app, and it's called Vivo. Vivo app. It's a VIVO, right? VIVO.
In case some of you might be thinking about planning your own river cruise, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to share some interesting information about traveling on the rivers in Europe. All the cruise ships are similar in size. They're all 38 feet wide and usually 360 feet or 444 feet long. They usually carry 130 to 190 passengers and have 40 to 50 crew members. They all look similar on the outside and are the same height. This is because they all have to fit into the locks and under the many bridges. Interior decor and amenities vary considerably from one tour company to the next. They travel in both directions for all their itineraries. There is so much river traffic these days that 2 to 3 ships often dock side by side, and passengers have to walk through a ship or two to get ashore. This 15-day trip from Budapest to Amsterdam went through 68 locks. Locks help to control seasonal flooding. They make river navigation possible, and many generate electricity. We passed through many locks at night as we sailed on to the next day's destination. Some locks are only big enough for a single ship, and some can accommodate up to 4 cruise ships. The passage through the locks is surprisingly fast, usually 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how many ships are entering the lock. You can see how fast these large ships are rising relative to the wall of the lock behind. To hasten the process, water is stored in multiple adjacent reservoir tanks, and gravity speeds the filling and emptying of the locks. Another amazing thing is that some of the bridges that we have to pass under are so low that everything on the top deck has to be disassembled and laid flat. Even the pilot house retracts into the bowels of the ship, and a small sunken alcove opens up to steer the ship through these low sections. In 1992, a 106-mile-long canal was completed at a cost of 2.35 billion euros. It is called the Rhine-Main-Danube Canal and enables river traffic to flow between the North Sea and the Black Sea. It has created many new opportunities for transporting goods and has expanded river cruising opportunities. We could not have traveled all the way to Amsterdam without this canal. Hope you found that interesting. Now a quick passage through a lock, then back to our cruise.
Stay on the right hand side. Another thing, I will be giving hand signs going right, left and right, or maybe stop. You don't all have to repeat it because people see we're a group. Very, very close to here. So one of the alumni is the Berg Gengesheim. This monument is for the founding of the city of Düsseldorf.
We're sailing tomorrow, right? So it's a sailing day. So tonight we will be leaving at 9:40, well, 10 o'clock. Once we have a guest singer coming on tonight called Sarah. She's going to do her show, which is called Broadway Divas. We need to start it at 9 o'clock.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty, that the city should give me its key. A committee should be organized to honor me. I feel sunny, I feel funny, I feel fizzy and sunny and fine and so pretty. Miss America can just resign. See the pretty girl in that mirror there, who cannot attractive now be. Such a pretty face, such a pretty dress, such a pretty smile, such a pretty me. I feel stunning and entrancing, feel like running and dancing for joy. I am pretty, wonderful.
Were affected by this, but this year no one. So this year we get harvest. We hope for that, if not a disease is coming. But I can recommend that. It's so delicious by itself, for sparkling wine, for ice cream, in a fruit salad, really a sensation. So later on, if you would like to get something typical and not in the middle of everything, we find a red cross on a white background. That's a symbol, of course, for the bishop. The bishop of River Moselle, that was his coat of arms. And the two keys have a double symbol. The double. with our grape wines. We had a decrease of viticulture until the end of the 19th century because the climate got so cold. And during the wars, no one cared about viticulture. And after the war, we had a different idea. Mass instead of class. So it was grown Riesling, yes, but a clone with thick berries. there is St. Vincent's Hospital, and they still have this trust. With all the money, houses were bought, they are lent, and with all the money they can support people who have an emergency. So it's existing nowadays from this person, Werner Sänger. Sack is the same. And the people here in Limburg are called Säcker. So people carrying sacks. Owner lived there with all the people working. That means they didn't go home. They lived together with a ruler. You had apprentice or different people. So 20 people lived in such a house. They just went down for work and then they lived up for sleeping. And here you find the idea how it works. Surrounding, we have a gallery, a staircase to reach the upper floor. Very typical for Limburg. And so that was offered to the young people in the villages. Here in Limburg, we had rich people. That means the parents, they gave money for the children. With the faces, I don't know which one is which one, but it's interesting. They wanted that the people definitely behave good in the city, that they don't steal, and they are reminded there to behave in a correct way. That's what we find right here in this house. And with the rose, now it's really beautiful. That's a wrong direction.
And wine tells also history. We have here a winery. It's called Castle Johannesburg. And Castle Johannesburg is the oldest Riesling winery in the world. They have a cellar which is 200 meters in the rock. Yeah, so you can store wine there perfectly. And they have a liquid library. In this liquid library, there is the oldest bottle of wine is from 1748. And the left castle, where is only the tower left, that's Bosenburg Castle. It's not that old, that Bramseburg Castle. Bramseburg Castle is the oldest castle on the Rhine, almost 1,000 years old. Yeah? Bosenburg Castle, not that old, only 800 years. So for us Europeans, it's not very old. cut. But when they heat it up, then around the boiling point, and also the monument, the sword is down. When a sword is down on a monument, it means peace. And the angel of war, even this guy, he uses a horn, yeah, but not for aggression, for a sound for peace. You see, all these allegories and reliefs, they're just telling you the story of war. Here on the westerly side, when the soldiers left into war, yeah, when we go up the stairs here and then see the east side, there are the relief when the soldiers came back from the war. In the middle,
how much the Neckar has flooded. So you can see it goes all the way to the top of that bridge. So the Neckar actually, it comes from a Celtic origin in terms of etymology, and it means the wild soul. Last year in June, this entire road where we're driving currently was completely flooded and completely closed off.
As I already said, 7 million visitors visit Heidelberg on a yearly basis. Since the month of June, Heidelberg has been voted as the most beautiful city in Germany.
And still today, you can buy these chocolates in Heidelberg, and they're very famous because generally the tradition is still to give it to one of your loved ones.
That all of these royals had pre-arranged marriages, and usually, they ended up not really liking each other after seeing each other at their wedding day. So this was unusual because this couple was mad about each other. Both of them were 16 years of age, and they started corresponding with each other 2 years prior to their marriage. Of course, in the language of love, French, because she couldn't speak a word of German and he couldn't speak a word of English. And this is how they actually looked like. She was called the Pearl of England, because she had a very pale skin complexion. That was very fashionable, of course, in those days, because if you exposed your skin to the sun meant you're a peasant. So the dry As you can see, we will be entering into the inner courtyard, and you will see we only have one original door showing us how actually looked like, how the actual main entrance looked like. In the originally there were 8 doors in total, 2 on each side of the wall. So one here, second here, then comes the third, then fourth. Now these doors to your left hand side are also the original one. All 8 doors had these smaller doors, you know, during the siege for the messengers. But as you can see, this handle here is cracked. Why? It's been bitten by a witch. A witch, yes. A witch bite, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go a little bit more to the right hand side. And welcome to the Heidelberg Castle, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, this is the only building, watch your steps, sir, that is not richly engraved. The only thing that strikes out here will be the relief of 2 angel boys above the main entrance. You see them? Now, they were put there as a great gratitude of the Ruprecht I to his builder mason. No? The fourth one was built in the year 1750. It was built out of the 200 grown oak trees, and it could hold 220,000 liters of wine. The wine barrel that you're seeing to your right hand side is not a big wine barrel. The big wine barrel is around the corner. If you'll kindly follow me up to here. The wine barrel that you're about to see here is straight in front of us, and as you can see, it has a dense podium on top of it. So Heidelberg as a city is the 4th most expensive city to live in Germany, yeah, and one of the most desired ones. So the villas on the other side, if we don't include these ones a little bit more to the left-hand side, were all built in between the 17th and 18th century. Wooden bridges being built on exactly the same spot. Why? The river Neckar that is in front of us is prone flooding, yeah? And of course, every time we had a flood, the bridge was taken down. And then in the late 1780s, one of our prince electors, Karl Theodor, decided to build the first stone bridge. It's still standing here.
On the right, there's the former Grand Slaughterhouse, a Renaissance building built in 1587. It housed the meat market until 1859, when new slaughterhouses were set up in the current train station area. Until then, this was where the cattle were slaughtered and butchered before being sold. Today, this building houses the Historical Museum. Here we are at the Pont du Corbeau, or Crow's Bridge, which was also known as the Bridge of the Tortured. Executions were carried out here for centuries, and the crowds flocked to see them. The condemned prisoners, especially those who had killed their own children or parents, were locked in a cage and plunged underwater until death ensued. And as a backdrop, there was the nearby Ulmergraben, a canal through which all the filth of the city flowed. It's perhaps the symbol of Strasbourg, the Notre Dame Cathedral. Its construction began in 1015 under the impetus of Bishop Werner von Habsburg. The first building was destroyed by fire, but the crypt and foundations survived. In 1176, construction then began on the cathedral that we now know. First, the choir was built in Romanesque style. The rest of the building would be in Gothic style. It took almost the whole 13th century to build the nave, and the spire was only completed in 1439. From then on, the cathedral was the very heart of the city.
So, this cathedral is one of the oldest buildings in the city. It's more than 1,000 years old. Built in 1015, officially finished, or I should say, the works were officially suspended in 1439. More than 400 years of construction. So we have wood, but it's recent. It has rebuilt recently because in 1870, during the war, and in 1944 as well, the cathedral was bombed and the roof burned. So it has been repaired after World War II.
So the song is in Swiss German, but I help you with the text. The text, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. Komm mit zum Grössi übers Land, so kommt's mir immer Sinn. Das Gucker, Zitli, other round, du hast ein bisschen drin, okay? Yeah, maybe, I told you our concert takes 6 hours. Now you know, and now you know why.
Not only Freiburg, but in the most cities it is destroyed. And why is it destroyed? We had this discussion in Freiburg too. Because I told you before, this was closed at night and it was dangerous, and you see two big openings. And then you tell me, okay, you tell us bullshit. There are two openings. What's the reason? The reason is that we had this tram. This tram was built in the 19th century, and so this stuff had to be opened.
Because normally, if you want to build a city, you have to ask the king. But they did not do that. They said we are free. Freiburg, free people. Until today, we are Freiburg. Founded by the Zähringer. The Zähringer had a very good idea to do this because we are near the Black Forest, and in the Black Forest there were silver mines. Rich silver mines. Mines full of silver. This is exploited today. Don't go there to look for silver. It's over. They all took it. But the city became very rich and very prosperous because of the silver mines. And our church, you see from the back now, is built from the silver of the Black Forest. In front of me you see our market. Already in the bus I told you we have this nice market, and this is also very special for Freiburg. We have market every day. Not only Saturday or Wednesday, we have the market every day. And on the left hand you find only products from the local farmers. We have seen all the little farms on the way, on the Kaiserstuhl and on the Tuniberg and in the Black Forest, and you find every day you find fresh vegetable, fresh stuff here on the market.
And so ends our journey. I'm glad you came along. I hope you found a time well spent. Perhaps you might even be thinking about planning your own river cruising adventure. Best of luck. Again, thank you, be happy, and safe travels.
you.